Hey guys, Mr. Backerberg here. In this video, we're going to take a look at circles. The standard form for the equation of the graph of a circle centered at the point HK with radius r is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And there's a couple ways that we can use this equation. We could be told a center point h and k, and we could be told a radius r, and we could use that information to write out the equation for a circle. Or we could be given the equation, and we could use that equation to help us identify what the center point would be and what the radius would be. So in this first example, we're told that we've got a circle centered at the point 2, -1 with a radius of 3, and we want to write out its equation. So again, that standard form is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. As far as h and k, we get that information from our center point. So I'm going to go x minus the x value from that center point, that's your h value, so that's 2 squared, plus y minus the k value, which is the y value from the center point, so -1, y minus -1 squared equals, and then your r squared, r is your radius, so we're going to go 3 squared. Now I'm going to clean this up. Inside of that second set of parentheses, we've got a double negative that we're going to turn into addition. So that's going to be x minus 2 squared plus y plus 1 squared. And then on the end, we know what 3 squared is. That's 9. So this equation right here would give us a circle centered at 2, -1, and it would have a radius of 3. In this example, we're given the equation for a circle, and we want to identify what the center point is and what the radius is. So once again, the equation for a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So we're first trying to identify the center point, h and k. Well, h is the number being subtracted from the x. If we look at what's happening in our equation, though, we've got x plus 1. But we can really think about that as x minus -1. That double negative would turn into this plus 1 inside of there. So the h value is -1. As far as the k value, k is what's being subtracted from the y, and here there's nothing being subtracted from the y. So the k value is just 0. And then as far as the radius goes, on the end, that's r squared. So if r squared is 25, then r must just be 5. So this circle is centered at the point -1, 0 with a radius of 5. Now we're going to graph out some circles on our calculator, but in order to do so, we're going to use some parametric equations. So for our x's, we're going to let that be a cosine of t, and for our y's, that's going to be a sine of t. And we're going to graph out parametric equations using 3 different a values, so 3 different coefficients. First, we're going to use 1, then we're going to use 2, and then we're going to use 3. For our parameters, we're going to use the interval from 0 to 2 pi, and we want to see how changing that a value will affect the graph of our circle. So before we get to actually typing these equations in, there's a couple of things that we need to check. First, in our mode, we need to make sure that we're in radian mode. And then for our graphing, we need to make sure that we're in parametric mode. Once we've got those two set, I'm going to go to y equals. For the x, we said that was going to be a cosine of t, and we were going to use 3 different a values. We were going to start with 1. So I'm going to go 1 cosine of t. And then our y's, that was a sine of t. So I'm going to go 1 sine of t. Now before I hit graph, I'm going to change my window a little bit. We said the parameter t value was going to go from 0 to 2 pi. So my t min is at 0. My t max, I'm just going to type in 2 pi. We want to have a square viewing window so that our picture actually looks like a circle. So if you hit zoom 5, zoom square, that will automatically adjust your x and y scale so that it does give you that square viewing window. And when I hit graph, that will give me a circle. And as we look at what's happening, we can see that we have a circle with a radius of 1 that is centered at the origin. Now if I go back to my y equals, and in my x2 and y2, I'm going to do 2 cosine of t and 2 sine of t. And then I'm going to go to x3 and y3 right away as well and do 3 cosine of t and 3 sine of t, and I'm going to graph those ones out. So there's my second graph and there's my third graph. So we can see that by changing that a value coefficient, we are changing the radius of our circle. The first one was just 1 cosine of t and 1 sine of t, which gave us a circle with a radius of 1. Then we went to 2 cosine of t and 2 sine of t, so that's a circle with a radius of 2. 3 cosine of t and 3 sine of t gave us a circle with a radius of 3. That's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching.